And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RYS Academy live Q&A. Again, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, we're tackling the Q&A portion of this call because we were in a bit of a time crunch yesterday. And Marco was cool enough to agree to answering some of the leftover questions that we had. So you're seeing my screen right now. This should be firing up here pretty soon. But if you're on the event page, just letting you know that if you got questions, let us know. But if you don't, just sit back and enjoy, and we'll go ahead and go through these questions. But please feel free to ask your questions. So, of course, we've got the mad scientist, Marco, here. Hello, Marco. Welcome to the call.
Hey, man, what's up?
Not much, just looking forward to getting these questions answered because we did have quite a few of them. So, again, thank you for being here.
All right, no problem, man.
So I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. The first thing that I see is I grabbed all the questions from yesterday, and one thing that that David brought up that I thought was an interesting point that can really start this conversation off nicely is he said everything you're saying is a 180-degree difference from conventional SEO. Now, we've talked a little bit about conventional SEO, but I would like your thoughts. Like what you were telling me before was very profound to me about conventional versus RYS. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, someone mentioned that everything we're doing and saying, or what was said during the webinar, is 180 degrees different from conventional SEO. And my idea behind this is that we're the ones that are actually doing conventional SEO because everyone else is just being reactive to whatever Google does. So there will be a panda penguin or whatever furry animal they happen to come up with next, and then everyone will scramble around, hide under the bed, get the dog and you grab a shotgun. Oh my God, the sky is falling. It's the end of the world as we know it, and we just chug along. We just chug along, man, because everything that we're doing, we're not causing Google to react to. In other words, whatever it is that you do, you're doing something. If you have to run and hide, it's because you're doing something that's going to trigger the algorithm in a negative way. But there are ways that you can trigger the algorithm positively. And so what's conventional? What do you think is more conventional? Excuse me, triggering the algorithm negatively or triggering it positively or doing the things that you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I
For
love that.
those parts of the algorithm that can actually help you. So that's how I see this.
Absolutely. Act, don't react, right?
Absolutely.
Nice, nice. So with that in mind, the next question that comes with it, and it was one of the, like a lot of people ask it like sort of the same way, but to really put this to rest, I think it's important to take a little bit more time on this. So the next question is that how long will this loophole work? You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of SEO techniques out there are just some kind of loophole that's very reaction based, as you were just saying, that well, this is how you would respond to this negative thing, and it's just one thing after another that's pretty much covering the symptoms, if you ask me, but not fixing the root. So coming back to that, is this just going to be another loophole that will eventually be another reaction based thing we have to respond to later?
If I could predict what Google was going to do tomorrow, I wouldn't be here. I would be somewhere
Good point. Yeah.
kicking back in my lawn chair and then having my personal assistant come at the end of the day and bring me my bank statements on how much money I made that day. I wouldn't be here, right, doing this.
Yeah.
So I can't predict that. I would just go and buy a lottery ticket, right, because I can predict the future. Having said that, let me go back to being reactive and proactive, right? Because what I'm seeing here is not really a loophole. We're not exploiting a loophole per se, not in the general way where PBNs and link building and everything else. We're targeting specific loopholes that Google had in the algorithm. What we're doing with this is again, we're positively engaging the Google algorithm, and I mean People talk about the trust rank algorithm, the distance graph, co-occurrence, topical trust, and ranking score, and everything else that's involved in the Google algorithm as separate algorithms, and they're not. It's all one part of a huge uh, algorithm that Google has written. And what happens is it's sectorized, right? So different people work in different parts of the algorithm. There isn't any one part that's involved in another. And so when you're dealing with that, there's a lot of fluctuation in an algorithm. I don't want to get really deep into algorithms, but the main thing to take from this is that just as you can trigger a panda and penguin penalty, you can trigger trust rank so that you can get trust. You can trigger the distance graph by getting closer. You can trigger co-occurrence by creating co-occurrence. You can trigger topical trust by creating topical trust, and you can create your ranking score by doing all of the above. Google, it's not really PageRank anymore. It's a ranking score that you get. The closer that you are to trusted sites, the more you're going to be trusted. And anyone who tells you it's about authority is full of crap, because it's not about authority unless you can get to the 80, 90 domain authority level where you can't be touched. Well, not really. Some websites did get hit in that level, but it's not very likely. Now, anyone who is still focusing on domain authority has the wrong focus, man, because it's not about authority unless you can get to that untouchable level. It's all about trustful. And it's not only, that's majestic. It's all about trust. And not only is it about trust, it's topical trust. In other words, how trusted are you in your space, in your niche, in whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're doing affiliate, whether you're doing, I don't care, SEO, pay-per call, anything, whatever it is that you're doing, how trusted are you? And Google establishes trust. Once they do, they give you a ranking score. And think of that as the old PageRank. Once you get this ranking score, and the more that you boost and the more that you work these positive, or the more that you can trigger these sections of the algorithm, the more positive effect that you're going to have on these rankings. And that's exactly what we're doing inside our RYS Academy. We went into the belly of the beast, and we just use the properties. We're using their property.
Interesting.
And we're using it. We're not doing anything that they're saying we can't do. I mean, I'm going to give you a perfect example, okay? And people are so scared of Google. And I had, just the other day, my Chrome open in one Gmail address and my Firefox in another, because I use several monitors, right, to do my work.
Mm-hmm.
On another monitor, I had Firefox, and I had that open to another Gmail account, and I was checking my AdSense on that other account. And on that other account, I wanted to check something, and I was getting something on my screen that I didn't want. And Google recommended for me to go incognito
Nice.
so that I wouldn't see that. Google itself told me, look, if you go incognito, you won't get
you won't
that.
have to see this. That's cool.
So I went incognito. I signed in. I was still signed in, mind you, in Firefox. I went in Firefox incognito. I checked everything that I needed to check, and I was cool. Shut it down. And all the while, I was still sending emails and doing all the other stuff that I do inside, because I do everything that with my regular Gmail through Chrome. And so think about it, guys. Think about when you're thinking about, oh my God, I am so scared of what they might do to me. You're so little.
Yeah.
We have all these delusions of grandeur because, oh my God, Google's going to be everything that I'm doing. Yeah, of course they are, but they don't give a shit about you, man.
Yeah.
You don't make enough money for Google to care. I mean, you might make, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month. There's people who make that in probably an hour through AdSense manipulation. those are the guys they want first.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
are the guys that they're going to target first, and they're not doing anything inside the belly of the beast. I can guarantee you that.
So
They're trying to hide everything that they do. So just to bring this to a close, right now, what we're doing is not alerting anything. We will pass a manual review because we're using Google properties. And I'll give you another one, how you can establish even more trust. This is a freebie, guys. It's in one of the advanced webinars, but I'm going to throw it out here. Pay Google. Stop being a leech and become a client. And then your IP is bound to your credit card and your bank and everything. And so now you could do a whole lot more than what you used to do. And I don't give a shit what anyone tells you. Google will rank you better when you start paying.
Amen.
Point blank.
I agree. I'm right there with you. So to me, I'm actually curious because you have a deep knowledge in this. It sounds like you just scoured through a ton of Google documentation, like something that no one else is willing to do. That sounds about par for course.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who wants to read, about some of the stuff that I do can just visit semanticmastery.com, and they can look up the Google Dance in our blog. I wrote the article. Maybe you can pop it in.
Yeah. I'll put it there on the event page for everybody to see. Yeah.
Because I've made it's like, I don't know. That's like my dope, man. My daily fix is going through the algorithms and seeing. I've mentioned this before. And it's in here. The thing is, Google is a publicly traded company, right?
Right.
And as a publicly traded company, it has to make public, right, all of its inventions and discovery, and all of these patents that Google has are public. And so I just spend days and hours and hours and hours on end just going through it and seeing what nuggets I can get from it. This is how I get all of this stuff about different sectors of the algorithm and how to trigger them. And I spend countless hours also testing. And I test and I test and I push and I push and I push because I want to get slapped. But I never test on anything that I care about. I never test on anything that I'm worried about losing. And so I don't deliver stuff to my buyers unless I have thoroughly tested it and I have pushed it, to the limit. Inside the Facebook group, I would be more than happy to show anyone the type of just spamation that I do and how there's no reaction, man. There's no reaction other than positive stuff that I'm getting through rankings, and it all ends up in my bottom line, which is all I care about.
Wow, see that just sounds like a superpower. Like the fact that you enjoy digging through like the Google documentation like that. I could probably count on one hand how many people are actually interested in that, and you're one of them. So, thank you for being here because I sure as hell wouldn't be going through the documentation. But it seems to be one of the best moves to be, again, action-based and not reaction-based.
Right. This is what I tell people all the time. First of all, take action. Do something. Don't just sit there and, oh my God, what if I get hit? You're not doing anything to get hit.
Yeah.
What the hell are you worried about? What are you scared of? You're not doing anything to be scared of. Now, when you start, when you get up there, hopefully you'll start making $1 million a month. When you do, that's not enough for Google to worry about. Look at their bottom line.
Yeah. No, good point. Now, very good point.
If you start making that per day, somebody might say, oh, wait a minute. Right?
Yeah,
we need to look and see what this guy is doing to make that much from us. But you also have to remember, if you're making, I don't know, $25,000 in AdSense, that means that their clients are paying them a whole lot more for you to make that 25 grand because you get cents on the dollar right through AdSense.
Right.
So think about that also.
I see.
It's when you start manipulating your AdSense or anything else, and you don't deliver quality to the customer, that they start caring, because all they care about is their AdWords, right? That's their baby. They want
Hmm.
everyone going to AdWords,
Okay.
and just to deliver a positive experience for those people who still use, which is around 60%, the regular rankings. As people, they use the normal searches, not almost. Yeah, it's still around 60%. 40% that will go to AdWords, maybe a little bit less.
Wow. All right. Well, then I think we've definitely put the question to rest about, is this just another loophole? Like, I mean, it's definitely something that, at least for the last year, I've seen has been a very effective thing. And as far as I've seen with SEO techniques, these loopholes, they don't last a year, let alone much longer than that. Because you pointed that out before, about
Right.
the fact that this has been an effective technique for much longer than when you guys called it RYS, right?
Yeah,
So,
and anyone who's doing who knows how to do Boolean searches, just do a search on Google for Google Documents, and or any type of Google file that you can think of, and see how far back you can find stuff that's been indexed. And then once you find what has been indexed, all you have to do is look at the keywords that were targeted with those files and documents, and you can see how far back this has been going. I mean, we're talking about, I think 2012 is the earliest document that we can find that's still ranking today, and it happens to be at Dr. Gary found out it's a porn. It's a porn. It's a Google Doc full of porn passwords and keyloggers and a whole bunch of stuff. It's
that's
just totally. So think about it. It's
nice.
just
Yeah.
totally spammy. Just total stuff that you couldn't get away with anywhere else, right? Because you'd get that warning.
Right.
Don't visit this site. Keyloggers and all this stuff. But there's a Google document somewhere out there. I forget what keyword it's ranking for. I'm sorry, I can't think of it. Or I would tell you guys, go take a look. Don't click on any of the links on that, because I'm not responsible.
Right.
You
Yeah.
find it, but think about it. So they're still ranking for all kinds of porn keywords, man.
That's
And
great.
it's total spam. It's total spam.
So with that in mind, I know that there's a large focus specifically with semantic mastery, to help people, help offline businesses rank on Google, and that's been fantastic. But I- I'm uh, I'm in a different camp, and I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this who is. I lean more towards the affiliate stuff. So, is this just a local marketing thing, or can it also be applied for affiliate marketing?
We've used it for launch jacking really effectively, man. If you're
Yeah.
an affiliate and you can get on, right. Think about it. You have five of the top 10 rankings for review, product plus review, product plus bonus, anything that people usually look for when some type of product is coming out. And you're right there and in front of everybody else, and you have 50% of that first page blanketed with your stuff. How think about the chances that you have of someone clicking on your result and buying it through your link.
Right. So what you're saying is that if you're an affiliate marketer and you see an offer that you weren't aware of before, and now all of a sudden it's right there, you're in the throes of the launch, you could apply these techniques and
You
possibly
can
pull off a
absolutely
launch
jack
check.
it. You can absolutely
Nice.
jack it, because you'll be going in with a lot more power than anybody else. And you've seen us do it. I forget what it was for
I have yeah,
Extreme.
video advertising extreme or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. We did that. We've done quite a few others. And
I remember that when I was searching, I was like, wait a second, this is semantic mastery. Wow. Impressive. Yeah.
yeah, and those were just case studies. That's stuff that we're just playing with. Those were case studies for our master class and mastermind.
Wow, that is fantastic, man. Well, okay, so we're at that point where, I've run out of questions that were asked before, and it doesn't look like there's any new ones. But while we're here, is there anything else that, while we were talking, that you thought of that could be beneficial to anybody else who's watching this recording?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone that's working the foreign market needs to be in this. because this absolutely kills in foreign niches. You have to remember the algorithm was developed, or they tweaked it to target stuff that was highly spammed in English, and then some language, but it only went as far like 5%. It only affected like 5% of rankings, according to Google.
Whoa,
But
5%?
yeah, but
Jeez.
through my testing, I can absolutely tell you, and not only mine. Hernan Vasquez works the Latin American market, as do I. And through his testing of mine, we can tell you, and through RYS Academy students, through the Facebook group and people being kind enough to share the stuff that they're doing. We have people in the Portuguese market, people in the Portuguese. I'm sorry, yeah, the Brazil and Portugal and other countries that speak Portuguese in the French market, and in a few other markets that are just crushing it with RYS Academy, man. I've done tests on. I don't speak French, and I've ranked a video in hours for some cherry keywords in French, and it was done just strictly using RYS methods. A video,
Wow.
you take a video, you embed it on a map, you push that map out, and it kills, man. It just kills.
Dude, you're melting my brain. I've never thought about because you never think about any language that you can't speak. So it's totally out of mind, right? I can't think of anybody else who's well, maybe the thought has come around of like, maybe I should look into, the foreign language markets and how they interact with search engines, but never
Yeah.
have I heard anything like that. That is huge.
I realize not everyone is bilingual. So what I do, I just go to Google Translate, because if Google gave me the translation, that means it's in their server.
That's brilliant. I love
And so
it.
no matter how gobbled up it comes out, it's the direct translation from English to whatever language I'm targeting. So I don't care. If it ranks, then I'll have someone who speaks the language go in and fix it.
Huh. Well, I
So
mean, that
my,
makes
my, my
sense.
thing is my thing is I go in, and this isn't mine. It's a term used by another marketer, poking a niche and seeing what sticks.
I
You go
like it.
in, you see if you can rank, and once you see whether you can rank, that's when you go and fix your stuff. You don't spend a ton of time getting on your video to look really pretty, making sure that the language is right or whatever. You just go and see what you can rank for. Then you go and pay someone, go fix this for me. Let's make some money. Because then I know once I'm ranking, I know I can make money.
That's good. I like that, folks. If you're watching, you need to write that down. Like those simple steps, right? Poke the niche or language, if you will, and see if it starts ranking. If it does, then go pay somebody to make it make sense, and or yeah, to make sure that whoever's reading it makes sense to. And it also makes sense if you think about it. Everybody has hit a website at some point in their time online that was definitely not written by somebody who understands English. So the concept has been around. It's just in reverse. Like we've only been focusing on like everybody in the world has wanted to focus on English, but now it sounds like we're at that point where we need to expand beyond the obvious, beyond English, and move into other languages because it's a global marketplace, right?
Well, if you limit, I understand that the English speaking market is very lucrative because of all the money that's moved around. But you also have to remember that we have what I think it's over 2 billion people using the web on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So you're ignoring 1.9 billion people, 1.8, by concentrating on the English speaking market.
Yeah, anybody, like you don't have to have a degree in marketing to know that that is a big group of people that you're missing out on.
I mean, Chinese stuff, it's highly spammed, and they have their own search engine. But become creative. The Japanese is highly spammed, and Google will eventually target. And when they take down all the garbage in Japanese, if you're there with RYS, holy crap!
Yeah. No, and then it sounds like, coming back to this whole concept, right? Like by being proactive and doing the things that Google wants you to do, then no matter what algorithm animal, as you said before, comes around, it doesn't matter. Like they can set and reset the stage as many times as they want, but we'll stand strong because we're using the right pieces.
Yeah, and I'm not telling people if you, first of all, I am telling you stop being a leech, become a paying client. Make Google look at you as something, and your IP, whatever IP is bound to wherever you work from, make that a paying IP, make that a client IP, make that there's a credit card attached to this, and it's a working credit card. But I'm not telling you to give Google, I don't know, $10,000 a month. I recommend around 20, $25 a month. You could get away with less. $5 in YouTube, $5 in the display network. It's not going to kill
Yeah.
you per month. $2 for extra drive storage, and
Yeah, that's really
you're
good.
pretty much guaranteed that they're going to leave you alone, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
just I hate to go out on a limb and say that they're definitely going to leave you alone. But as far as I can see, from the stuff that I do, and I'm a notorious spammer, man. I know I'm not very well known, and I like to keep it that way. But I'm a notorious spammer, and all of the stuff that gets hit, when my stuff gets hit, it's because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a reaction. I haven't had anything that's RYS related hit. No, I'm sorry, I did. I had an HTML file that I uploaded into Drive, which is just totally against the terms of service, and it had a 301 redirect. Anyone who knows anything about coding knows that's just totally against the Drive terms of service. You can't do that.
Oh,
And they hit the file, and they flagged it and said, no, you can't do this. But the rest of my Drive was fine.
wow. So after all of that, they only took the one thing that they didn't like and left everything else alone.
Not only that, they just told me no, you can't. This can't be used anymore, and they just sandboxed that one file. I took it out. I put it in the trash, and that was it. No other problems with anything. And I mean, I have Drive videos and YouTube videos, and they're exactly the same thing except for the file extension. One is Drive, one is YouTube. And so,
Wow, that's kind of like getting pulled over by a cop, and
yeah, if
then
you keep, if you
the
keep me
cop
on,
comes up and
yeah,
he goes, here, I'm going to give you a warning, and you're just,
yeah,
whew,
yeah.
okay, right.
If you keep me on, I'm gonna give away too much, man. So
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I appreciate your final thoughts, man. This has been very enlightening. And of course, folks, for those of you who are watching the recording, you definitely need to check this out. So go ahead. We've got the links provided. I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious when everything's finished. So go ahead and jump over. But if you have any questions, Marco, is there an email that people can reach out to, or a support desk if they have
yeah,
buying related questions?
yeah, absolutely. It's support at semanticmastery.com.
Awesome. Support at semanticmastery.com. I'll make sure it's on the event page, also the YouTube watch page as well. So I think we're good. So thank you very much for your time, Marco. We're going to
All
go
right.
ahead and give you the awesome. Thanks. See ya.